Jai Hind everyone. Welcome to my YouTube channel, which is Explore Yourselves, Banking and General Knowledge, etc. Jai Hind. Historical events of 29 June, a journey through time of 29 June 2025, Sunday. Today's 29 June highlight in history. 1613, the Globe Theatre in London, built by William Shakespeare's playing company, the Lord Chamberlain's men burns to the ground. 1620, English Crown bans tobacco growing in England, giving the Virginia Company a monopoly in exchange for tax of 1 shilling per round. 1644, Charles I of England defeats a Parliamentarian detachment at the Battle of Cropredy Breach. 1659, at the Battle of Konotop, the Ukrainian armies of Ivan Vyhovsky defeat the Russians led by Prince Trubetskoy. 1764, one of the strongest tornadoes in history strikes Waldeck, Germany, killing one person while leveling numerous mansions with winds estimated greater than 300 miles per hour, which is about 480 kilometers per hour. 1786, Alexander MacDonald and over 500 Roman Catholic Highlanders leave Scotland to settle in Glengarry County, Ontario. 1807, Russo-Turkish War. Admiral Dmitry Seniavin destroys the Ottoman fleet in the Battle of Athos. 1850, autocephaly officially granted by the Ecumenical Patriarchate of Constantinople to the Church of Greece. 1864, at least 99 people, mostly German and Polish immigrants, are killed in Canada's worst railway disaster after a train fails to stop for an open drawbridge and plunges into Rivière Richelieu near Saint Hilaire, Quebec. 1874, Greek politician Charilaos Trikoupis publishes a manifesto in the Athens Daily Kairos entitled Who's to Blame?, leveling complaints against King George. Trikoupis is elected Prime Minister of Greece the next year. 1880, France annexes Tahiti, renaming the independent kingdom of Tahiti as Établissements des Français de l'Océan. 1881, in Sudan, Muhammad Ahmad declares himself to be the Mahdi, the messianic redeemer of Islam. 1888, George Edward Gouraud records Handel's Israel in Egypt onto a phonograph cylinder, thought for many years to be the oldest known recording of music. 1889, Hyde Park and several other Illinois townships vote to be annexed by Chicago, forming the largest United States in area and second largest in population at the time. 1915, the North Saskatchewan River flood of 1915 is the worst flood in Edmonton history. 1916, British diplomat turned Irish nationalist Roger Casement is sentenced to death for his part in the Easter Rising. 1922, France grants 1 square kilometer at Vimy Ridge freely and for all time to the Government of Canada, the free use of the land exempt from all taxes. 1927, the Bird of Paradise, a U.S. Army Air Corps Fokker Tri-motor, completes the first trans-Pacific flight from the mainland United States to Hawaii. 1945, the Soviet Union annexes the Czechoslovak province of Carpathian Ruthenia. 1950 Korean War. US President Harry S. Truman authorizes a sea blockade of Korea. 1952 The first Miss Universe pageant is held. Armi Kusela from Finland wins the title of Miss Universe. 1956 The Federal Aid Highway Act of 1956, signed by US President Dwight D. Eisenhower, officially creating the United States Interstate Highway System. 1971 Prior to re-entry, following a record-setting stay aboard the Soviet Union's Salyut 1 space station, the crew capsule of the Soyuz 11 spacecraft depressurized, killing the three cosmonauts on board. Georgy Dobrovolsky, Vladislav Volkov, and Viktor Patsayev are the first humans to die in space. 1972 The United States Supreme Court rules in the case Furman v. Georgia that arbitrary and inconsistent imposition of the death penalty violates the Eighth and 14th Amendments and constitutes cruel and unusual punishment. 1972 A Convair CV580 and de Havilland, Canada DHC6 twin otter collide above Lake Winnebago near Appleton, Wisconsin, killing 13. 1974 Vice President Isabel Perón assumes powers and duties as acting president of Argentina while her husband President Juan Perón is terminally ill. 1974 Mikhail Baryshnikov defects from the Soviet Union to Canada while on tour with Kirov Ballet. 1976 The Seychelles become independent from the United Government. 1976 The Conference of Communist and Worker Parties of Europe convenes in East Berlin. 1987 Vincent van Gogh's painting The Le Pont de Trinquetaille is bought for $20.4 million at an auction in London, England. 1995 Space Shuttle Program STS-71 mission Atlantis docks with the Russian space station Mir for the first time. 1995 The Samsung department store collapses in the Socho district of Seoul, South Korea, killing 502 and injuring 937. 2002 Naval clashes between South Korea and North Korea lead to the death of 6 South Korean sailors and sinking of a North Korean vessel. 2006 Hamdan v. Rumsfeld, the U.S. Supreme Court rules that President George W. Bush's plan to try Guantanamo Bay detainees in military tribunals violates U.S. and international law. 2007 Apple Incorporated releases its first mobile phone, the iPhone. 2012 The derecho sweeps across the eastern United States, leaving at least 22 people dead and millions without power. 2014 The Islamic State of Iraq and the Levant self-declares its caliphate in Syria and northern Iraq. Your daily dose of wisdom ends here, but the journey never stops. Thank you very much for your patience. Please like and share this video and subscribe to my YouTube channel.